Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing coming to you with a fun tutorial. I actually woke up a couple of days ago dreaming about this project, so I thought I would bring you along for the ride after I did a prototype or two or three and let you know what we're doing. So I decided I wanted to make these little scrolly things at the top of a page or a journal card or something. And it's made out of, this one's made out of rice paper that I printed a digital on, just a coffee stain, tea stain digital on, which I'll show you it in a second. This one I made to go in my reference journal. It's going to be this journal card that is in a pocket. So the pocket is gusseted so that it will hold a bunch of fun stuff. I put a dangle on the edge of this one. And then how it works is that we just untie this ribbon like so. And then you can roll this out, and you've got writing space. And it's almost, oh, this one's not. This is the, sorry, my apologies. Let me back up. This is actually tracing paper. And the other one that I did is rice paper, but I'll be showing you both in the tutorial. So this one is rice paper, but I love, and hear the sound. The sound is so glorious. So it rolls up. So obviously, if I do one in a pocket again, I'll make the thing a little bit taller so that this actually sticks up above the page. We'll see how that goes. Or I might just have to put it on a smaller page so it will, because that could get pretty bulky. But when it's all rolled up, it can get pretty skinny, as you saw. The rice paper one is a little bit thicker because rice paper has more substance than the tracing paper. So, and then you just tie this back in a bow like so. And so I did print on both sides of the tracing paper and both sides of the rice paper. And then this is the example on a 32-pound paper, which is still not awful if you think about that sticking up out of the top of a page. I'm going to reach and grab my reference journal really quick so I can show you. Sorry about that. I meant to do that before I turn the camera on. So this is my reference journal, which I have not kept up on. I'm going to have to go back and remake some stuff that I don't think I saved a copy of. So let's say this was our journal. Now this is pretty tall because I could make the digital was not directional, so I was able to make it taller so it sticks out about an inch out of the top of the page. This could actually get glued onto a page on three sides and be a side tuck. But if you look at this, now that sticks up above the page. So look at that. Kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool. But there's a lot of variations one could do with this. I'm going to leave that one in there for now. And this one is the rice paper. So let me show you the difference here. And I'll show you the difference in the paper types down here as well when we start making it. So this is the rice paper. So you can see it's not as transparent as the tissue paper or the tracing paper, but it's got a really interesting feel because rice paper almost feels like fabric in many ways, but look at how cool that is. So that's just another example. And then let's get going. So I had some skewers in my kitchen, so I just grabbed some of those to do my rolling. I want to do paper beads really bad. I did them way back like 3 years ago when I first started doing junk journaling, but I've never done it again. So I think it would be fun to make some themed paper beads for some of the journals that I'm working on. So we'll see about that. So I've got my white glue. This is Barely Arts. And then I've got my archival ink from Ranger. A little bit of seam binding. I had a really hard time tying both the ribbon and that gold thread. So I'm going to go back to my seam binding, which is my preferred thing. So we're going to be working with the papers, these beach ocean themed papers today. So those are that's one project. So this one's going to be this will be the really tall tag, and this one will be part of this will be the pocket. So I'll set that over there. So this is the rice paper. Okay. This is the rice paper. So it's fairly transparent, or not rice paper, sorry. This is the tracing paper. I don't normally use tracing paper. I always use vellum, but I love the sound of this. So that's our paper for that. And then we're going to do this other one, which is just going to be similar to the one I just put in my reference journal. It's going to be a, we're going to make it into a pocket by gluing it on 3 sides. Now we won't be doing the gluing on camera because it'll go in the Joyful Spring Journal when I get there. But we're going to glue this down as a side pocket. I'm going to use this side of the digital. And then this is the rice paper. So it has a different sound. It has more substance. It is, I guess it is about as transparent, but you can see the lines through it, which is because of the way that the rice paper is made. Use both the same digital on both. This is from the Sweet Birds. I don't know, bird kit from Ruby and Pearl. It's one of the background papers. So that is that. This is the tracing paper I'm using. I just pulled this out of a stack of stuff that I'd forgotten about. It's 25-pound Canson tracing paper. And I have forgotten about it, and I love printing on it. So that's really epic. So, oh no, we've got purple ink somewhere. What did that purple ink come off of? Is it my ruler? I cleaned that that pencil container, but there we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do really quickly, let's talk about how big we want this to be. So my journal pages are usually 5 1/4 by 8 1/4. So I am going to go ahead and, oh, look at that. If we cut off that white border. I'm going to go up here so I can see better. And I'm going to go to 5 inches because I want to, I don't want it to be too big. So I'm going to mark here at 5 inches so I know where to cut there. And I'm going to mark over here. And I'm going to cut that off. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to cut the white borders off of all of these papers and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've cut the borders off of both of these, and then I cut this down to 8 1/4 by 5. So it's still not going to, unless I bump the pocket up, or this one's going to get glued down. So what I'll probably do is bump this up towards the top of the page so that, or above the page even, so that this sticks up out of the page with the scroll on it for this purpose, because this is going to be a pocket. So let's start with this one. So I'm going to just set this stuff aside. This is for the second one. This is the rice paper again. So I'm going to take a moment. Well, let's do our cutting first of the rice paper, and then we'll ink up. So I make them just slightly narrower than the piece. So I'm going to just go like that, and I'm going to go in about 1/4 inch from this edge here, and then from this edge here, and then I'm going to turn to my cutter and trim that off. Okay, and then you only want it to be as tall as your piece in this case, because this is going to be a it's going to be a pocket, a side tuck, and we want this, we don't want that to extend when it's opened further than the piece. So I'm going to just make a line at the bottom of this and cut that off. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to ink up this. Oh, I forgot. The other thing that we need is we need a piece to go along the top. So on my prototypes, I cut a narrow piece of paper and put it up at the top here. It's hard to see with the scroll there, but that is holding the string on. So we need to take care of that. And I didn't get any seam binding for this one. So let me find the blue. If I can find it. There it is. This is the one I want right here. Okay. So I'm going to cut a piece of this off. This should be, well, I'll cut it down to be 5 inches by about 3/8 of an inch. Doesn't matter how wide you make that. I'm just going to estimate here. Okay. And I'm just going to hold it up here and just make a line and cut it manually here. So I'm just going to make a line here. And oh, my scissors are out of reach. Moved the cart to get the book to get back to my desk. I decided to start bringing my sewing machine over every time I get ready to film, just in case I want to sew. It's already ready and I can't make any excuses. So perfect. So I'm going to take a moment and ink this. I'm not going to ink this up. Well, I might. Let's see how it inks up. I've never really tried that. Oh, it does ink up well. So I'm going to ink this stuff up and I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. So let's get with the skewer. I haven't done a lot of skewering in my lifetime. So basically what I did is I just had to fiddle. I found it was a lot easier with the rice paper than the tracing paper, but I just kind of trained this first little bit by just rocking back and forth and just try to get that little bit trained. And if it's not even, you'll be able to fix it. So then just start rolling. If it comes out, you may have to just keep going like so. This is how I found it to be the easiest. You could probably do this with vellum as well, I would imagine. And then we're just going to roll up to about there, just leaving about probably 3/8 of an inch at the top. So now I can just hold that and pull the skewer out, and then I can tap it down to get that edge a little bit more even. So there we go. And then we're going to pull this over. And oh, I did this again. So my best advice, because you can't really let go of this now that it's rolled, is to have glued your seam binding up there first. So let me grab a paper clip. Hopefully I won't totally squish this. Maybe a big clip instead. I don't know. I guess we'll just roll it again. Not a big deal. It's kind of trained, so it'll stay somewhat rolled up. And I'm just going to use my white glue. So I'm going to put a bead of glue. I'm going to start with just a bead of glue right here in the middle. Okay, and then we'll extend that in a minute. And then just get off a long enough length that you feel like you can tie a decent bow, which that looks like a lot, but we'll deal with it. And then I'm just going to find the center here, pinch it, and then pull that up here and set it down. Mostly in the middle, as best you can get it. Okay, give that a press. And then we're going to put more glue here on this top edge over the seam binding or ribbon or whatever you're using to tie your scroll. Okay. And then we're going to put our paper down. So we can roll this again when we're done. So I'm not going to fiddle with it now. And I know that this is smaller than my page, so I'm just going to be looking at edge to edge to make sure it is somewhat even. That's my goal. Again, perfection is not at play, so don't worry about it if it's not exactly perfect. Come on. Nope, it's not. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. There we go. There we go. Give that a good press. Okay. And we're going to let that sit for a moment. Okay. While that's drying, we can go ahead and glue this on the top. So actually the paper's holding it down. So technically you wouldn't need this strip, but I feel like it stabilizes it. In my prototypes, I felt like it was a good move. So I'm going to just continue with that. So how are you guys doing? Today is Thursday, July 11th. Yesterday, my oldest daughter turned 38 years old. Oh, I don't feel old, but the number is a little scary. But she is like about the sweetest person on the planet. Both of my girls are just amazing humans. So they are in Hawaii, so we're not celebrating them right away. So I should be good to go ahead and roll this again. Now that it's trained, now you could put your skewer in again to get a really tight roll, or you could go for the looser approach. I found that it tended to get looser naturally once it got rolled and tied anyway, so don't stress about it. Got that ribbon under there that's getting in my way. There we go. Just roll that up again. It is much looser. It's okay. And again, we can straighten that when we get it all the way rolled up to the top. Remove the skewer, tap it back into place. Okay. Roll it the rest of the way. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. I think we're good to tie now. So this was tricky. I'm not great at this on camera, but this was not probably the best color. I guess it does bring out the little bit of blue. This is from Rach and Bella Crafts Garden Story Kit. And I wanted to go with more of that vintage, those vintage images versus the brighter, colorful pages. So I like working with seam binding a lot better than that other ribbon. There we go. Oh my goodness, that's so beautiful. So beautiful. It's really long. Okay, there we go. I'll turn this off. I throw these in my scrap basket and use them, so don't worry about that. Okay, there we go. So this is going to get glued in. This is going to go in the Joyful Spring Journal. Oh no, this one's going to get glued to the page. Yeah, but we still would, so when I put it on the page, I'll butt this up to the top or above the top and just let that little bit hang over. I didn't get that inked on the back because I know that it's going to get glued down, but that top bit is going to show. So a person could put another bit of paper on there to make it a little more decorative, but I think it's okay. So that is it. That is the rice paper. So look at how small it is. So the other thing I noticed is that even if this was in a journal and it gets pressed down a little bit, it's still going to be usable. Just roll it out and write on it. Epic, if I do say so myself. And I thought it up myself, which I was really impressed. Oh, I didn't cut these other papers. So these are some of the papers we're using for the second one. So I'm going to turn and cut down these papers as well. So this is obviously very big. Right now it is 2 wide, so it is 6 1/4 inches wide. So this needs to be down to 5 inches wide. So I'm going to have to play around and cut off both sides until I end up with 5 inches. Awesome. We didn't even lose any of the boat. I love it. So that's going to be our journal card that's going to go into the pocket. So obviously it is too tall. Now my pages are generally 8 1/4. If I want that scroll to fit up over the page, I think I would be good to make this 8 1/2 inches tall. So I'm going to make a mark here. And I'm going to cut that off. Okay, so that is our journal card. We're going to set that aside for a moment. And we're going to set that aside. I want to make the pocket now. Now, I wasn't thrilled with what I picked here because I don't feel like it really goes, but I thought we could maybe use the, oh, I don't know. I almost want to use the grasses at the bottom for the pocket. Let me think about that. I have an extra piece of rice paper over here and an extra scrap of, I believe, the tissue paper or the tracing paper. I keep saying tissue paper, but I think that's not going to be a strong pocket. I think it's not going to be a strong pocket. So I feel like that's not, tracing paper is kind of fragile-ish. So let's just go with this paper. So let me kind of see what would be best. If it would be, I think, almost think that it would be better to pull from the flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this down to, I like my pockets to be about 3 about 3 inches tall, but with a gusset or the flaps to make it a bigger pocket, I'm going to cut this to 3.5. 3.5 inches wide by, well, with the gussets, it's bigger, but I'll show you that in a second. Sorry. Okay, I'm just looking at this now, see what I did. Yeah, that's about right. I don't worry about my gussets on my pockets or that extra, I don't know, what do you call those when you do the thing and you fold them in? I don't know what it's actually called. I just keep calling it a gusset. Oh, that's much better. So I'm going to grab my tiny scoreboard here, and I'm pretty sure that this is, it's right now 5 3/4 inches. So that means we can do 1/4 inch score line on each side. So I'm going to just put that right here and grab my score tool. I lost the one that went in here. It was like, I think I lost it. I might have found it when I cleaned. Is it this one? Nope, it's a little white one that clips on that thing, and I don't know what happened to it. In my pristinely clean studio, I do not know what happened to it. So is that quarter? This is 1/4 inch. Just going to score there. I'm going to flip it around and score the same on the other side, 1/4 inch. And I'm going to score here at 1/4 inch. I didn't care about that white border because it's not going to be seen. I always forget to make pockets like this, but they're super cool. And then you just cut that corner off to remove the bulk. So I just kind of go at an angle and then angle it back. I don't know why I forget this, but I always do. There we go. Let's just fold that pocket in, and then we'll deal with our little scrolly bit in a second. This is going to go obviously in the beach journal. Do we get that the right? Yep, perfect. Perfect. Perfect size, not perfect like it's perfect, it has to be perfect. Just perfect. I'm happy with it. It's working out the way that I had hoped. And that's what I mean when I say perfect. There we go. And I do often like to clip these corners because sometimes they'll show a little bit. So I'm just going to give that a little bit of a clip. A little bit of a clip. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and ink both of these up. Well, let's do our thumb notch first. So you just want to have that folded in so that you know you're truly getting in the middle of the actual pocket, not the whole piece. And I don't care about perfection, so I just estimate. Oh, that was really dark. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let's just make it darker then, Cara-Renee. I'm loving these digitals. So excited about this journal. And I hope I have a couple of days. Well, I actually have, like, really, other than I got a little bit of busy work to do for my sister, who I helped get some things straight in her apartment the last couple of days. And I have to haul some stuff away, and I have to pick up a chair for her roommate, take it over. But I have like 4 days where I have no plans whatsoever. So I plan on staying home a lot. My plans fell through with my friend that was supposed to go to the beach with me today. And so I came home and I'm not going out. Taking care of myself. I'm not even going to go do my walk. I'll probably try to do some aerobics here in the house just to keep on track. Okay, there we go. So now, because our journal card basically is taller, we're going to want our tracing paper to be taller. So I'm going to set this down on here. I really like this edge, the way that the digital is made. And I'm going to, again, leave about not even 1/4 inch, maybe a little more than 1/8 inch. Does not have to be precise. I just don't want it to have abuse on the sides when it's being used. So I'm going to go in about that distance, and then I'm going to push this up just a smidge, and I'm going to cut it off at the bottom of the card. And so I'll be right back. There we go. Awesome. Look at how you can see that bow through there. Isn't that so cool? Okay, so before we do anything else, let's cut a piece for the top. And I'm feeling like maybe that's almost that whole image. Where did the top piece of that go that I cut off? There was a piece at the top I cut off. Would that work? Yep, that would work. So it is already the right width, so I'm just going to cut it down to oh, that's a 1/2 inch. Let's just do a 1/2 inch. Make it easy. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. It's really hard to cut a piece that's this narrow though on my cutter, so I'm going to try. I'm going to persevere. There we go. Doesn't have to be perfect though. Okay. So there's our piece. I'm going to ink that up while we're here. So what I was going to say is I have many days and I'm just going to catch up in the studio. I need to organize my digital files. I made a good start at it, but I need to work more on it because I can't find stuff on my computer currently because I've not been faithful naming the files as they're being downloaded, and it's a cluster right now. It's really, really hard. Okay, so before we roll, we're going to go ahead and put our seam binding up here just to save us that headache. So I have a piece of this really pale, almost an aqua color, and I'm going to go ahead and find the middle of that. Okay, middle of that, about right there. I'm just going to put a spot of glue in about the middle of the top here. And then just put that down. Boom. Easy as pie. Although pie is not easy. I am 59 years old and I've made one pie coached by my daughter. I'm not a baker and I do not enjoy cooking. So I don't. I mean I don't bake. That's not what I'm known for. And so I don't worry about it. So I don't know. I don't think pie is all that easy, to be honest. Okay, I'm going to move that up and out of the way, and we're going to start our rolling of our scroll. And I'm not going to talk because I want you to hear what this sounds like. It's so delightful. Once you get past that initial roll, it goes pretty easily. Do you ever wake up with ideas, like from sleeping? You're just like, aha, I know what I'm gonna do when I get to my craft table. I know what I'm gonna do. That's what it was like for me. So now we are good to go. I don't even have to worry about letting this go. I can put a bead of glue all across the top. Like that. I am trying to fill my head. As I've mentioned, I'm going to be gone. Oh no, I went too far. Just wipe that off a little bit. We're going, I have a family beach trip. And then we're home for a couple of days and we go again to another family member's homestead. Spend some time, so at the beach. That's not straight. Let me get that back in position. There we go. I try to correct it if it's obviously super wonky, but other than that I don't worry too much. So there we go. Let that sit a bit. And then we do need to let that sit. Oh, we've got our piece of paper to put on. That buys us a little bit of dry time there. So are you guys enjoying your summer? We finally got a little bit of a reprieve. I went over and helped my sister do some massive cleaning at her house, and it was so hot, but it was not as hot as it had been in the previous days. So I was super grateful. I felt like a sweaty pig when I was done. And I was so sore and so tired. Look at that. Oh my gosh, I love it. But our temperatures, I think, are going to be, I think, in the mid-80s today, maybe. So I'm glad for a little bit of a reprieve because it's been very hot. One day here it got 106 at my house. So it's pretty crazy. I feel for those who do not have air conditioning. We didn't until, I mean, we had some window air conditioners, but I think it's been 2 years now. I don't think it was last year, it was the year before. Maybe it's only last year that we got our central air. And oh my goodness, it's like so amazing. Because window air conditioners, they do provide some relief, but not sustainable relief. So I did not have internet yesterday. Thankfully, I was away, but I also have satellite, which is what I run my studio off of so that I can upload videos in a reasonable amount of time. Reasonable for me is about several hours it takes to upload a video. And then we run everything else in the house off of our CenturyLink, which is our phone service and our internet. But it was down. CenturyLink was down all day yesterday, so but I was away as well. That's a little bit, I pulled that a little tight, so I'm trying to loosen that up because I see the pressure there. But there you go. Look at that. I'm over the moon. So that's crooked on the top. Look at that. But you know what we say? Perfection is not at play, and ink covers a multitude of sins. There we go. So in the journal, this will go inside of this pocket like that as a nice little journal card that can be removed, and then this can be scrolled down and written on. And I know from experience that you'd want to test what pens are permanent on there. The Faber-Castell Pitt pens are the best. I'm able to write on vellum. I'm able to write on rice paper and on tracing paper with the Artist Pitt pen. You can buy these in a set, but you can also get them individually. They last forever. This is a small tip. It's a nice writing tip. So I use it a ton. So guys, thank you so much for coming and having a play with me. And thanks again for the support, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.